Good morning and welcome to the show, and thanks for waking up with us today. I have an author here in the studio with us by the name of Chuck Barrett. Chuck is a published author. This is your fourth book, Chuck?
Fourth book, yes.
And the name of this book is Blown.
Yes.
It sounds like an amazing, it's an amazing title because there's a gun and a badge and all that stuff, so it sounds like it's a real thriller.
The badge is a U.S. Marshal's badge, and yes, the storyline of the book is basically kind of around the title. It's basically a witness protection program gone wrong.
So somebody's cover has been blown.
Somebody's cover has been blown, exactly. And it starts out at the very beginning, and it just moves lickety-split to an end,
awesome.
And everybody's chasing my protagonist here.
So it sounds like a real page turner. You know, we talked a little bit before the interview started, and you have an interesting background. You're a retired air traffic controller.
That's correct.
So from air traffic controller to published author, how does that happen?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, it was something it's not something I wanted to do growing up. I grew up here, and it was, as I got older, like in my early 40s, it was like, I think that would be something I would like to do because I love reading thrillers.
Right.
And it was like, well, let me give it a shot.
Well, that's true because, writers are readers.
Right.
So if you read a lot, you could say, well, I could do that. That's an interesting storyline.
It's harder than it.
Oh, I'm
it's harder
sure.
than it sounds.
And I've got a few published articles, and I collaborated on a couple of books, but I never wrote a book, from beginning to end. How long of a process is that?
Well, the first one took 12 years.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Okay.
From first inception to final product, and 6 complete rewrites. The second one took about a year. The third one like 10 months. This one took a little longer, but I went a little slower on it. This one took probably about, 15 months, maybe something like that from beginning to end.
Wow, that's amazing. And I guess like anything, the more you do it, the better you become at it.
Most definitely.
Now, where do you get your inspiration from? What are your ideas? I mean, you've never been in a witness protection program, right?
No.
So how would you know about that, and what gave you the idea for this?
Well,
I guess there's a fair degree of research that goes on.
There's a lot of research, and I had a wonderful group of subject matter experts to help me out here, including a U.S. Marshal, a couple of Sicilians, because of course there's mafia involved.
Naturally,
of course. And these were subject matters I knew absolutely nothing about, and you can only get so much data from the internet, and some of what you have to be really careful what you use because it's not always 100% accurate. But I did have some very good sources who.
So you picked up some anecdotes and maybe some.
I did. I have a policeman who makes sure that all my police procedures are correct.
And the terminology, the jargon.
Absolutely. And the U.S. Marshal was critical in that respect. I mean, I didn't ask him to tell me how they change somebody's identity because I didn't want to know because the book starts with somebody's identity being blown. So therefore, I just wanted to know, well, now what happens? What happens when you guys got to step in and save somebody?
And that's an interesting program, too,
It
by
is
the
very,
way,
it
because
is.
some people opt not to do it, or they opt out after a while.
Yeah, they can do that. They absolutely can.
Oh, it's amazing. It sounds like an amazing book.
It has received wonderful reviews so far, the best of all 4 of my novels, and it is, everybody says the same thing. It is just blitzing from the beginning to the end.
And those are the types of books, and they make a great summer read. That's the type of thing you can sit on the beach and, and just have fun with, I suppose. Now,
Yes.
Now, I guess you were a reader, and you liked these type of books, I suppose.
Love them. Yes.
Yeah. So it's kind of your own world that you create when you do all that.
It is, and the ideas, I get a lot of the ideas from just like newspaper articles and little things like that. And then you apply that what if, well, what if this happened and this happened on top of what I just read, and you just put them together and try to draw a storyline from the beginning to the end and make it exciting for the reader. It is entertainment.
It just sounds like an amazing and interesting process, and the amount of work I can only imagine, having written a few short things, I can't imagine writing something that big and it taking that long. We have to run off to the local weather, but on the other side of that, let's talk about this book, maybe some of your other books, and how people can get them.
Sounds wonderful.
We'll be right back after your Waking Up with Don weather. Welcome back to the show. I'm here speaking with published author and best-selling author, oh, by the way, Chuck Barrett, whose latest book is Blown. And it's a real page-turner about the witness protection program and how somebody's cover has been blown.
Right.
And, you know, during the break, I just had to kind of thumb through a little bit, and I can't wait to read this book. It just sounds great. But I'm going to embarrass you a little bit. It says Chuck Barrett is an amazing best-selling author from Amazon, an Amazon best-selling author, an award-winning Jake Pendleton series.
Right.
And so this is your fourth book?
Right. The first three were the Jake Pendleton. This is a spin-off series. This is the Greg Kaplan series.
So Greg Kaplan is not an ordinary man, but a man with special skills, courtesy of the United States government. Sounds just awesome. Now, you're a local son here. Now, you live in Northeast Florida, but
Correct.
you were raised right here in Panama City, weren't you?
I was, yes.
And you're a Mosley graduate?
I am. First graduating class, 1975. We have our 40-year reunion this year.
You going to go?
You bet.
Okay, you got to come with some books, too, I suppose.
I carry them with me everywhere I go.
Yeah, you should. Now, you know, if somebody wants to get the book, we don't have to go to your reunion. We could just go to Books A Million and order it, or just Amazon.com.
You can go to Amazon. You can go to Barnes & Noble. You can go to Books A Million. You know, it's available ebook, audiobook, print book. My website has links to every possible place that you can buy them. And that's chuckbarrettbooks.com, and everything is there.
chuckbarrettbooks.com.
Correct.
I can envision this perhaps become a screenplay sometime. Have you ever given that any thought? I mean, like an action thriller?
That would be wonderful.
I mean, that's a whole other process of writing, I'm sure. But
it is, and every author, I think, would probably like to see their books turned into a screenplay, a feature film, or a TV series or something like that. That would, you know, that's like, oh yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, but even if that doesn't happen, it's got to be immensely satisfying to have your work being published and people buying it and enjoying it.
It is. Daily I get emails from readers. Almost all of them are, you know, good emails. The ones you like to get. Oh, I really enjoyed your book and this, that, and, you know, and it kept me up all night. I hate you now, but it was really wonderful. And, you know, those are the kind of things that's like, okay, well, if you couldn't put it down and went from cover to cover in one sitting, I win. Yeah. You do win, I suppose.
Win. Yeah.
I win. That was it's entertainment, and that was my goal. My goal was to entertain you, and if you come out satisfied with the ending, then I feel successful.
You know, it's funny though, because so many people now are wrapped up with TV, internet, all that stuff, and books are just, you know, I don't know, they're not forgotten, but I wish more people would read.
I absolutely
Myself
do.
included.
Yeah.
I get stuck in front of the tube all day.
Because it's easy.
Yeah.
You know, you're spoon-fed, and you don't have to sit there and go through it. And granted, a book like this takes you, well, it would take me a couple of days to read, but some people can sit down and read it in 5-6 hours. I don't read that fast. But you can get the same kind of thing in 2 hours in front of the TV.
And maybe more. And you know what? I wish I had a dime for every time I heard this. The book is better than the movie.
Right, right.
How many times have you heard that?
I've said it many times.
Yeah. And even if this does become a screenplay or a movie or whatever someday, or a TV show, the book will always be better.
I would hope so.
Because people kind of read between the lines.
Well, and you can tell an awful lot more in a book than the actors can tell you.
It's almost like it's becoming a dying, you know, I can't remember the last time I had a recreational read. I mean,
well, I brought you one.
I'm going to do this. This is totally my summer read. I mean, I'm going to do that, and it's something you could take on vacation with you when you're chilling out by poolside or on the beach or whatever. You know.
And you know, a lot of people downplay ebooks, but you know, for people who travel a lot and for the younger generation, ebooks are wonderful, and it gets them back into reading.
You download it right to your tablet, and you're off to the races.
It's wonderful.
It is. You don't have to carry around a big old book with you. You know.
Yeah, that's right. You can carry thousands in one the size of a book.
Well, Chuck, I have great respect for authors, and I got to tell you, it's been a joy, you know, talking with you about this, and I wish you a lot of luck.
Well,
with
Don,
that.
I appreciate you having me on the show.
And have fun, and welcome back to Panama City, and have fun at your reunion.
Yeah.
Mosley alumni, published author Chuck Barrett. Thank you for coming on the show.
Well, thank you, Don. I enjoyed it.
And we'll be right back.
guys, welcome back to Time to Hack Tuesdays, and check out what I have for you this week.
You hate it when those buttons fall off of your shirts? Well, you can prevent this by using clear nail polish. Yep, all you have to do is take that clear nail polish, paint it over the button, making sure that you cover the thread completely. This will prevent them from fraying and falling off. No more lost buttons. Using clear nail polish is also a great way to keep those small little screws in your sunglasses. No one likes having hair that has tons of flyaways. One way to prevent this is dryer sheets. All you have to do is put the dryer sheet on your hairbrush by pushing it through the bristles and brush your hair as you normally would. This will get rid of any flyaways and your hair will look gorgeous. Ta-da! I'm sure everyone has had this problem, trying to take off or put on a key onto a key ring. This is not an easy task unless you use a staple remover. This staple remover will open up that tight clasp on this key ring so you can just twist it out or put on that key with no problem. It is as simple as that. Does it drive you nuts when your shirts end up looking like this in your hanger and they just don't stay? One quick fix for this is using an elastic rubber band. Attach the rubber bands to both sides of your hanger and then put your shirt on. This will help hold that shirt easily and prevent them from slipping off.
Thank you again for tuning in for Time to Hack Tuesdays. If you have a hack that you want to see me do on the show, just email me at timetohacktuesday@gmail.com. Look forward to seeing you next week.
Welcome back to the show. I'm here with Dr. Stephen Favaloro for your pet health tip of the week. Thanks for coming back on the show, Dr. Fav. Always good to see you.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
It's getting really, really hot out now.
It is getting hot.
And you know, I talked to some people and like you have to hydrate, you got to use sunblock and all that stuff. What about our pets? Are they susceptible to the same things?
Absolutely. In fact, even more so because of their inability to sweat. You know, dogs and cats don't have sweat glands, so.
Is it true that they sweat through their mouths? Is that just like urban legend?
They sweat through their mouths. I mean, they dissipate heat by panting. You know, so that's how they cool down, by exchanging heat through their lungs and then, of course, you know, expelling it out. That's the main way. And then, of course, just normal, you know, conduction. You know, you just lose heat through your skin, but they won't sweat, so they're not real efficient at doing that. And, of course, then there's certain breeds who, just by nature, just have a hard time breathing in general. Like they're called brachiocephalics, or like the real short-nosed dogs, like
my dog.
Yeah, like your dog, or like pugs and Shih Tzus and Malteses, things like that. I mean, they really have a hard time just breathing in general. And in fact, if they just even exercise, they can actually have exercise-induced, hyperthermia, just because they're building more energy through muscle exertion, and then they're trying to pant, and then they're exerting more energy panting because they are very inefficient panters because their soft palate is so long. So they're actually generating heat by trying to dissipate heat.
Wow, and plus wearing that fur coat all the time probably doesn't help.
Well, and you're right, and so there's a lot of factors that contribute to whether some dogs will get hyperthermia faster than others. So if you have overweight dogs, if you have really long hair-coated dogs, or cardiac disease for that matter, you get some of these older dogs that have congestive heart failure, heart murmurs, their cardiac output isn't that good, so they are inefficient pumpers just by nature there. So
if you have a breed like mine with a short snout, maybe a little overweight, wearing a fur coat, summertime's not good. It's hard.
No, I mean, and I tell people too, like generally between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. is not a good time to walk your dog or go out and, take them, go play Frisbee or something like that. Not a good idea because it's just so hot during those times. And, people still want to walk their dog, but, you do it in the morning or in the afternoon. But, everybody's lives are so busy, it's hard to get up and do that. But those are the best times to do it. And, of course, then you've got the no-see-ums and the yellow flies you have to deal with.
Boy, yeah.
But still, from a hyperthermia or a heat stroke standpoint, you try to go play Frisbee with your dog or go for that afternoon jog after work at 4 o'clock, and that's not going to be good for that pet.
Dogs are so loyal. They'll go along for the run.
They're not going to stop themselves.
They're not going to say, "Hey, I'm getting a little hot. Let me cool down."
No,
they're just going to keep going.
Not. They will.
Yeah.
And that goes for dogs. People. You hear the big thing. People in the mall see a dog. In the car with the windows closed. I mean, that's legit. I mean, and 100-degree temperature outside with windows up, it gets to be about 120 degrees in that car. Even at 82 degrees, it still gets to be close to 102 degrees in the car. So, you got your windows up, it's 82, it's not that bad. Well, in the car, it's 102, 103 degrees.
Even if the windows are cracked.
Even if it's cracked, it only decreases the temperature by about 5 to 7 degrees. So, you crack the windows and it's 100 degrees outside, still 115 degrees in your car.
That's awful, so you really have to be careful.
Right, I mean, and when the temperature gets that high, I mean, there's such a large cascade of things that, will develop. And first of all, as soon as their cardiovascular system collapses, then they're going to start releasing a lot of, it's called, heat proteins. And then this just causes further cell death. And then next thing you know, they're starting to hypercoagulate. And then you start to go in multi-organ dysfunction. And then, by that point, you get them to the vet even. And, a lot of times the damage is already done.
Wow, so it's almost too late. So how do you know if your dog's experiencing heat stroke?
Well, if they can't pant, they're not able to calm down. You start to see the gum color start to turn. I mean, those are bad. So if you suspect your dog is undergoing some heat stroke, best thing you can do is to put water on, not cold water, regular lukewarm water and a fan. Don't try to put alcohol in their feet. Don't try to put cold water because that'll just cause vasoconstriction, cause everything to go internal, and then they'll even have a harder time, dissipating heat. So
I remember my little dog. She would go on a top step of the pool, and just wade there like a hippo.
Yep, just cool down that way.
Just to cool down, she just stand in the pool for a
Absolutely.
little while. Yeah. Dr. Favre, always interesting speaking with you, sir, and thanks for coming on the show. And we'll look forward to your health pet tip next week. Keep them cool, right?
Yes, sir.
And we'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back to the show. I'm here with Ivan Garza from Bay County Animal Services and his friend Trace. Ivan, thank you for coming back on the show.
Oh, thanks
Good
for
to see you
having
again.
us. Oh, likewise.
And Trace is an interesting animal in that, I don't know if you can see this or not, but Trace has 3 legs.
He sure does.
That's a first for the Don Show, having a 3-legged dog, and he is the sweetest dog, too. He looks like a young guy. What's he, about 2 years old?
He's about 2 years old, yep.
Yeah, and just a nice, smart dog. What's his story? How did you?
Well, we had a gentleman bring him in because he frequented one of the local parks, and he noticed a dog running around there for a couple days. And after a few days, he just thought, I'm going to take him in and try to find him a home. So he did, and he was trying to find him a home for a couple days, and he finally brought him to us. But from what he told us is he got along great with his other dogs, and he just was a little too much energy for his particular.
He's still kind of a big puppy, I guess.
He is.
Now, Trace looks like some sort of pit bull or pit bull mix. Or?
He is. He's a pit bull mix, but he's got this gorgeous brindle color.
Yeah, he is a beautiful dog.
And he is absolutely, he's so loving. He just wants to be on your lap. He wants attention, and he needs attention, but he is wonderful.
And despite his handicap, he gets around pretty well, doesn't he?
Oh, absolutely. He is a complete athlete. He loves to run.
He runs.
Oh, absolutely. He runs.
Yeah.
He doesn't just, it's not an exaggeration. He'll take off.
Well, pit bulls are known to be pretty good athletes, and this guy just happens to be a...
Yep, and he loves riding in the car.
Three-legged athlete.
Loves riding in the car. He'll jump right up on the truck, and he's ready to go.
All right, so he's a great dog. So, like all the animals out there at Bay County Animal Services, he's going to be neutered, I suppose, or
he's already been neutered. But absolutely, for the $25 adoption fee, it covers your pet having them microchipped, their first round of shots, rabies shot, and getting them neutered as well, or spayed, whichever.
And that's an awesome bargain. So Trace needs a home. He's a 3-legged dog. Trace, sure. I would call him Tres.
Yeah.
Meaning 3 in Spanish, or tripod even, but that would be insensitive on my part. But he's a great dog.
He is a great dog.
He's a great dog, and Trace is a great name for a great dog, and he really needs a home.
Absolutely. So, whatever you decide to call him, as long as he's got a great home.
And how do we adopt him? Do we just go down
All we got to do is come down to the animal shelter, fill out a quick 5-minute application, nothing too intimidating, and again, once you're approved, it's just $25, and all you got to do is
you take this wonderful, sweet dog home with you.
Absolutely.
Who may only have 3 legs, but he's got no handicap when it comes to being a nice dog.
Well, that is 100% correct.
Ivan, thank you so much for bringing Trace on and introducing him to us. And I hope you find a home, buddy boy. I might take you home myself, but you might need my little dog, but he's a nice dog.
He's a great dog.
All right, please adopt Trace. Call Bay County Animal Services, or just do a little Google search and get out there and find Bay County Animal Services and go out there and take a look at Trace. Maybe a breath mint might help too. And always remember, spay and neuter your pets. And we'll see you next time.